All right, y'all, I want to answer a question and have a conversation with those of you who are wanting to jump into things like paid advertising, whether it's through Meta, through Instagram, through YouTube, or through Google Ads, before you've actually mastered organic content and organic search. One of the biggest things that's probably really frustrating is this idea that ads are going to magically solve all of your problems and generate a bunch of free leads. Not true. And I think this is one of the things that most novice business owners and folks who haven't really spent a whole lot of time in marketing tend to be magnetized by and distracted by when they're getting into trying to grow their business, whether it be for the first time or whether it be for the millionth time. The biggest misconception about ads and ads in general, regardless of what platform you're talking about, is this idea that as soon as you put money into it, you're going to get a return. Now, this is 1000% not true. The other big myth is if you hire a company and pay them 20 grand, like I did at one point, that they will magically know what to do and get you results. Also, not true. And finally, the other thing is this idea that ads are these super complex, super difficult things that only experts can do, and that you should be paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have somebody help you with those things. So what I want to address here is understanding when it is that it actually makes sense to start looking at paid advertising and why I don't typically recommend it as the first thing for folks who are just getting started in their business and haven't yet mastered organic content. The first thing that we see an issue with is folks who have yet to actually do any kind of keyword research and understand what it is that they want to be ranking for, and more importantly, what their audience is actually searching for. If you have a huge ad budget and you're okay with spending thousands of dollars to do your keyword research and do your market research through paid ads, then by all means, go for it. But if you're like most small business owners and you're not wanting to spend thousands and thousands of dollars just to collect data and information without actually getting a return, then this might be an important distinguisher to note for yourself that going straight into paid advertising might not be the move right now. And that doesn't mean it's not the move ever. It just means that if you're not confident and clear on exactly what it is that you're wanting to rank for, who it is that you're marketing, and more importantly, what it is you're trying to get found for, then this is not the best way to get started. My suggestion for those novice business owners or small business owners is to first figure out how people are finding you online and how they want to connect and relate to you through your content, whether this is through things like Google search, through YouTube content, or through traditional social media like Instagram and Facebook. It's a free platform, so you can actually start testing your ideas and boosting content before you put it into a huge ad campaign. I think the other big mistake that a lot of folks make is they overcomplicate it and spend way too much time trying to create the perfect piece of content rather than continuing to test and perfect along the way. So before you go and invest thousands in an ad agency, start with social media and figure out how it is that your audience is engaging and interacting with you and how are they finding you. Now, social media doesn't have to be just Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. This can also be looking at SEO marketing platforms like YouTube, like Pinterest, and like Google, so that you can, again, do the actual research, collect the data without it costing you thousands and thousands of dollars a month. The next thing that I want to tackle is this idea that spending a bunch of money on a really expensive ad agency is going to solve your problems. The reality is most ad agencies are going to charge you a heck of a lot of money, and really it's not necessary. What ad agencies are doing is basically doing the work for you, but it's work that is, in my opinion, incredibly overpriced. Oftentimes, small business owners feel really intimidated by paid advertising. It looks really intense. There's a lot going on in there. There's so many metrics, and the platforms are rarely ever intuitive, which is why they're so quick to assume that anybody who markets themselves as an ad expert online will magically know what they're doing and be able to do it for them. But the reality is that's never really the case. 9 times out of 10, you'd be way better off spending the money, learning how to do it yourself, and then knowing how to actually measure these things so that, again, it's not costing you thousands and thousands of dollars a month on top of the actual ad spend that you're putting into paying for your ads. So is it worth the investment to spend $20K on an ad agency? In my experience, not really. Not only did we not see any actual return on the investment when we did this back in 2018, 2019, really at the peak of when ads were doing quite well, but more importantly, we had better reach and engagement when we were just doing things organically. So don't just invest in an ad agency because you think it's going to solve all of your problems. 9 times out of 10, again, it's not. And finally, the last thing that I want to tackle in this video is deciding for yourself whether or not it's worth it for you to actually learn the thing so that you can do it yourself. So again, most business owners feel really intimidated by the idea of ads, and oftentimes this is why we defer to big companies who are going to charge you a heck of a lot of money. And the reality is, if you don't know how to do it and you don't understand it, you are going to be way more susceptible to being blindsided by what other businesses and other agencies are doing. You won't actually know how to track and how to measure whether or not what they're doing is working, and if it's even beneficial or supportive for what your goals are. Which is why, even if you don't ever plan on doing ads for yourself, it's important that you at the very least understand how they work and how to read those metrics so that you can see, if you do hire somebody, whether or not what they're doing is actually working. So again, it's important to recognize that yes, you might have some frustration around ads, and yes, it might be a process to learn how to navigate the platforms and read the metrics, but it is possible. And with the right kind of guidance, the right kind of support, there are tons of free resources online. And if it is something that a lot of folks are looking for, I'm happy to create free content on here as well to support you in understanding the basics of Meta. Then you can learn how to do these things on your own. You can be a better informed business owner. You can make better informed decisions about your business. And more importantly, you'll understand how the money that you're spending is actually contributing to your bottom line. So hopefully this video has been helpful. If so, this is the part where you give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit subscribe on this channel and follow along for additional free resources and content on how to grow your online business in 2025 and beyond. As always, feel free to put questions down in the comments below and we'll be happy to answer as we can. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you in future videos.